The Hard Knock team has been selected. It's going to be them boys, the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to talk about that coming up in just a minute. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Unfair Sports, where we take a pensive approach to the sports conversation. And on this video, we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys being on Hard Knocks and ask the question, will this cause a problem to the season?
All right, so Jay, switching over, I don't know about you. Like, one way that you can test yourself to see just how much of a football NFL junkie you are is whether or not you watch Hard Knocks on HBO. And
actually, any show that involves athletes doing stuff where they're just talking or behind-the-scenes stuff. Yeah,
right.
That means you're a junkie.
So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Hard Knocks, it's a program, 5-episode program usually, that runs on NFL that runs on HBO that features a particular NFL team. And essentially what they do is get behind the scenes as the team goes through training camp, goes through, I think, the majority of the preseason leading to the beginning of the regular season.
Right.
So you get to see a lot of what happens as they train, as they have meetings, some conflicts that can happen between the players, as well as who's on the bubble of making the team versus being cut. And you get to learn about their families, personalities, etc. So there is a sense of in-depth invasiveness to it, but that's what the show is. It's very interesting to see the experiences and really the humans who wear the helmets.
Yes.
You could say. So each year, to me, it's always of interest as to who is going to be the feature of Hard Knocks this season. So last season, you had two teams for the first time. You had both LA teams, the Rams and the Chargers. And it was announced later last week, that this year, the team to be featured on Hard Knocks was none other than the Dallas Cowboys.
We them boys. We're going to the Super Bowl, baby.
So-called America's team is going to be featured on this program for the third time. I did not know this.
Yes.
2002 and 2008, they were also featured, and they're going to be featured again this year in 2021. So with that, with the type of exposure this team is going to have, more so behind the scenes, given that they're the highest valued sports franchise in the country, essentially.
In the world, too.
Yeah, in the world, yeah. As far as their multi-billion-dollar valuation. Do you think that Hard Knocks featuring the Cowboys is going to have an impact on this team in a negative way?
Yes. I think that it will affect them in a negative way. This is everything that Jerry Jones loves: the theatrics, the big splash events, the drama. Jerry has always been big into that stuff, and basically, this is what they're going to get. They're going to be all over the place, and everyone's going to talk about America's team for the next. How many episodes? It's 5 episodes, right?
Yes.
They'll be talking about them every week for the next 5 weeks. Every week you tune in to this podcast as well as the YouTube channel. Go to unfair-sports.com, click on the YouTube link, takes you to the channel, like, subscribe, and share, because sharing is caring. You're going to hear about these Cowboys, because I'm actually going to watch Hard Knocks this year. I never watch Hard Knocks. I love it. It annoys me. It annoys me more than anything. But I'm going to watch it because it's them boys. And you got to watch it when them boys on. 02 and 08 I didn't watch because I was poor. But now at this point, I will be watching it because it's them boys. And it's going to be interesting because there's going to be a lot of drama there. It's going to be a lot of and that's the good thing about it. Plus, at the same time, I want to see what Dak looks like. So I'm kind of interested in a behind-the-scenes look of Dak and his preparation and how he's going to get himself going for this season fresh off that disgusting ankle injury, compound fracture and all the dislocations and everything. Felt like his leg fell off, in my personal opinion. So I'm interested in seeing that. But I do believe that it will negatively affect them because it's just going to do nothing but continue the spotlight on this team, when honestly, I feel like if we can get the spotlight off of them for like a year or two, they can exceed expectations instead of always underachieving.
I don't think that is going to affect this team in a negative way. I think it's going to affect the Cowboys fans in a negative way. And that's the last thing Cowboys fans can use, is being affected in a negative way that makes them even more delusional. Because what's going to happen is they're going to see all of these players who are on the bubble who look really good. And they're going to think, well, if these are the players that we might have to cut, what about the players that we're going to keep? They're going to be even better. We're really going to the Super Bowl. We're going to win 50-0 over Kansas City. That's what's going to happen with these fans, bro. I'm telling you. Yes. So that's going to impact them in a negative way. But, however, outside of that, I think that this is a brilliant decision. This is probably a decision that they had to make, because I think that last season, even though you featured two teams, the Chargers and the Rams, was so boring that the ratings probably dipped, especially really in the midst of the pandemic when you think about where we were about a year ago, so that they needed the Cowboys more than the Cowboys needed them in order to, in a sense, probably save the show, to bring that back to prominence. Because back when it first started, it was must-see TV. And I just realized when you were talking about why you didn't watch in 02 and 08, I was poor too, because I was an undergrad in 02 and I was in grad school in 08. So I was poor as well. So I was like, how did I not know that? But yeah, I think that usually when you go into a Hard Knocks, you know who like the stars are of the team.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they're the most boring, and they're the ones who really don't want to say or do anything that could ruin their brand. So they usually don't know going into this who the stars of the show are going to be. Just like last year with the Rams. The stars of the show, or they could even be said to have had stars, were Sean McVay, the coach, and this defensive back. I can't even remember his name. He was on the bubble.
Yes.
But he had a lot of personality.
Yes.
He liked to dance and stuff like that. So he was a star of the show. But with this, you really only need 4 cameras. Really 3. 1 for Jerry, 1 for Dak, 1 for Zeke. That's your whole show. That's all you need.
You got to throw it on the wide receivers. I want to see some CeeDee Lamb and some Amari Cooper.
Fourth camera. CeeDee Lamb.
Well, fourth camera's going to go to just wide receivers, period. I want to see the wide receivers, the room.
Fourth camera, wide receivers. Fifth camera, find your most animated defensive player.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's Michael Parsons out of Penn State, the rookie linebacker. Follow him around. That's all you need.
Actually, him and Jalen together.
There you go.
At all times. Telling you, you guys got to be together at all times. You got to, like, follow each other and be best friends. You got to be attached to the hip. That would be awesome. I think it's going to be an enjoyable show. I do believe that ratings will be up for this because it's the Cowboys. It's Cowboys. Cowboys fans are going to be
ratings are going to be fantastic.
They're going to be fantastic for it. But I have high expectations for the Cowboys this year. Dak being healthy and the way their team is aligned, and they actually got healthy linebackers. Mm-hmm. They don't have an excuse to not be great. And I'm afraid that having more spotlight is just going to hurt what we can expect from them. I really want them to fly under the radar for 1 year. Just 1 year. 1 year under the radar, I think would be great.
So much for that. But I believe the show starts. Now, they're going to actually do this later on in the season, I think, because usually they have an episode or two, I think, before the first preseason game. And I think that they start, I'm guessing August 10th, but the Cowboys play in the Hall of Fame game 5 days before that. So I guess the first episode will be the week leading up to and through that game.
Yep. Yeah. August 10th. So it'll be all the way through. It looks like right through that game.
Yes, all the way through the preseason. Yeah. Okay. So maybe it is always like that. Maybe I misspoke.
So yeah, I think what do you expect to see out of Hard Knocks before we wrap this up? What do you think is going to be some things that that's going to jump out to you, that you expect to see happening in the practice?
Well, I think that what they're going to do is the Cowboys, they're going to gear this more towards their fan base. I mean, which is what I guess is an international fan base. And the narrative is going to be simple. It's us making a comeback narrative. It's us getting back to the throne, because Jerry hasn't won a championship with his team in 26, 27 years. Dak had that bad injury. He's got to come back from that. And because of that, Zeke had a bad season. Can he come back from that? Well, I mean, a bad season by previous Zeke Elliott standards.
Yes.
Yeah. As well as the defense. You get Dan Quinn as defensive coordinator. You get a really good linebacker. So can this defense come back from how bad they were? So that's what it's all about. It's all about that, coming back. Getting the castle back, getting the throne back. That's the narrative. So everything we see edited by Jerry, because the whole thing's going to be edited by Jerry, is going to be filtered towards that narrative.
I think there's 3 things that they're going to focus. Correction. I think there's 4 things that they're really going to focus on in this. It actually may end up just being 3 now that I'm thinking about it. First off, Dak. The question is Dak back? Splat. That's going to be all the questions. We're back. We're Dak. Dak's back. That's what's going to be the focus.
Yeah.
That's 1. 2, can Dan Quinn turn that defense around? That's going to be a big one. I don't even think it's going to be as much as drafting Michael Parsons and adding him to Jalen Smith and Lee Vander Esch. I think the focus is going to be, what can Dan Quinn do? Can he bring back the Legion of Boom from the Seattle years here in Dallas? That's going to be, I think, the second one. I think the third one's going to be McCarthy. The question is what is Mike McCarthy going to look like going into this year? Can he bring this team back to prominence? That's a question I've had. I don't know if he is the coach to do this. He's supposed to be an offensive guy, and he doesn't look like a very good offensive guy. We're curious to see what he's truly going to turn out to be as the coach of this team. And I think the last one, you kind of hit a good point. I think it's going to be the skills guys. I think it's going to be, can Zeke get back to who he is? And can Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup, as well as CeeDee Lamb, will they be the receivers that Dak needs to make some more strides? Because, of course, Dak's going to put up his numbers. If the defense does their part, they have a really good chance of making some magic happen.
And a lot of times in these Hard Knocks episodes, it's really your linemen who have the most fun personalities. So when you think about, in keeping with that same narrative, this Dallas offensive line that was so dominant for multiple years, not being as dominant because of age, because of injury. So when you talk about the getting back to prominence narrative, they're a part of that too. Can we get back to being that top 5 offensive line that we were?
And that's the one thing I can give to Jerry Jones. He's always drafted and aligned a very good offensive line.
Yes.
It's like him, the Raiders, the Patriots. They're probably the 3 teams, I think, off the top of my head, that always just have a solid offensive line. No matter what. Al Davis made sure they had a solid offensive line. Belichick's focus always make sure they had a solid offensive line. Dallas always have a solid offensive line. It's just, figuring out how to make everything else work. So,
right.
We'll see.
Right.